1721, Nassau, Bahamas, the Pirate Republic, a place where no law existed except the law of the strong. 5,000 pirates lived here, drank here, killed here. It was the last free place in the Caribbean. Marcus Cole was a ship surgeon, not a pirate, not a fighter. Just a doctor who patched up wounded men for a few coins. He had studied medicine in London before gambling debts forced him to flee to the colonies. Now he lived in a small shack near the Nassau docks, treating knife wounds and bullet holes. One night, a dying pirate stumbled into his shack. The man was covered in blood. His name was Henry Cross, first mate of the ship called the Black Widow. "Doctor," Henry gasped, "I'm dying. Shot through the lung, but before I go, I need to tell someone, need to warn someone." Marcus tried to stop the bleeding, but the wound was too deep. "Save your strength." "No time. Listen, my captain, Catherine Vane, she found something that shouldn't exist. An hourglass made of black glass, with red sand inside that flows upward instead of down." Marcus thought the man was delirious from blood loss. "You're hallucinating. Rest now." Henry grabbed his arm with surprising strength. "I'm not mad. The hourglass is real. We found it in a Spanish wreck off Cuba, inside a locked iron box with warnings carved all over it. Spanish warnings. Do not turn. Do not use. The price is too high." "What does it do?" Henry coughed blood. "It gives you time, extra time. You turn it once, and you get 1 more hour of life. But the sand has to come from somewhere. It takes an hour from someone else. Someone nearby. They age 1 hour instantly while you stay young." "That's impossible." "Captain Vane has been using it for 3 weeks. Every day she turns it. Every day someone on the crew ages 1 hour and she stays young. At first we didn't notice. 1 hour isn't much, but she's turned it hundreds of times now. Some of our men have aged years in just weeks. They look 50 when they're only 25. Marcus felt cold. Why doesn't the crew stop her? Because she chooses who ages. She punishes men she doesn't like. They wake up older, weaker, dying. The rest of us are too afraid to challenge her. But it's getting worse. She's addicted to it now, turns it multiple times per day. Our crew is dying of old age, while she looks younger every day. Where is this hourglass now? On her ship, the Black Widow, anchored in the harbor. I tried to steal it, tried to throw it overboard. She caught me, shot me. I escaped, but... He coughed more blood. "I'm done. But you, doctor, you're smart. You could stop her. You could destroy that cursed thing before she kills everyone." Henry died 20 minutes later. Marcus sat in his shack, staring at the body, thinking about what he'd heard. An hourglass that steals time from others. Impossible, insane. But the next morning, Marcus went to the harbor. He saw the Black Widow anchored near the docks, and he saw the crew. They looked wrong. Some were young men with the faces of old men, grey hair on 20-year-old bodies, wrinkled skin, bent backs. They moved like they were 70, but their eyes showed their real age. One crew member was barely able to walk. He looked 90 years old. Marcus approached him. "What happened to you?" The man looked at him with hollow eyes. "The captain, she takes from us every day. We're dying while she lives forever." Marcus felt sick. Henry had been telling the truth. That night, Marcus watched the Black Widow. He saw Captain Catherine Vane on the deck. She was beautiful, maybe 25 years old, long dark hair. But there was something wrong about her beauty, something unnatural. Her skin was too perfect, her eyes too bright, like she was lit from within. She was holding something, a small object that caught the moonlight, the hourglass. As Marcus watched, she turned it. The red sand flowed upward, and on the deck below, one of her crew members suddenly collapsed, gasping. When he stood up again, his hair had gone grey. His face had aged 10 years in 10 seconds. Catherine smiled and walked back to her cabin. Marcus knew what he had to do. He had to steal that hourglass and destroy it. But how? The Black Widow had 40 crew members. He was just one man. He spent 2 days planning, asking questions, learning the ship's routine, and he discovered something interesting. Catherine Vane kept the hourglass in her cabin. She never let it out of her sight. The only time she left the cabin was at midnight when she walked the deck alone. That was his chance. On the third night, Marcus waited until midnight. He watched Catherine leave her cabin for her nightly walk. Then he quietly climbed aboard the Black Widow. The ship was mostly silent. A few men on watch, but they were exhausted, half dead from being aged. They didn't notice him. Marcus crept to the captain's cabin. The door was locked, but he picked it easily. Inside, the cabin was luxurious. Silk curtains, fine furniture. And on the desk, sitting on a velvet cushion, was the hourglass. It was exactly as Henry had described. Black glass, intricate metalwork, and inside red sand that seemed to glow faintly in the darkness. The sand was flowing upward, defying gravity. Marcus reached for it. The moment his fingers touched the glass, he felt something, a pull, a hunger. The hourglass wanted to be used, wanted to be turned. It whispered to him in a voice that wasn't a voice. Turn me, take time, live longer, stay young. Everyone else grows old, but you could live forever. Marcus jerked his hand back. The hourglass was alive, or something inside it was alive. He grabbed a cloth, wrapped the hourglass carefully, and tucked it under his coat. Then he turned to leave. Captain Catherine Vane was standing in the doorway. Going somewhere, Dr. Cole? Marcus froze. How do you know my name? I know everyone in Nassau. I also know you've been asking questions about my ship, about my crew, about me. She stepped into the cabin and closed the door. And now I know why. You want my hourglass. It's killing your crew. My crew is expendable. Time is not. She drew a pistol and pointed it at him. Put it on the desk. Marcus didn't move. Henry Cross told me about it, told me what it does. How many people have you killed with this thing? Killed? I haven't killed anyone. I've simply borrowed time. They had years to spare. I needed those years more than they did. You're stealing their lives, Catherine laughed. Life isn't fair, Doctor. Some people are born rich. Some are born beautiful. Some are born lucky. I was born smart enough to find this hourglass and ruthless enough to use it. That makes me special. That makes me worthy of extra time. You're insane. I'm practical. Now, put the hourglass on the desk, or I'll shoot you and take it from your corpse. Marcus looked at the pistol, looked at Catherine. Then he made a decision. He pulled the hourglass from under his coat and held it high. If you shoot me, I'll drop this. It'll shatter, and whatever curse is inside will be released. Catherine's eyes widened. Don't! Then let me leave. Let me take this thing and destroy it properly. I can't do that. Why? Because you're addicted? Because you can't live without stealing time from others? Because I'm dying, Catherine shouted. I was dying before I found this. Consumption. The doctors gave me 6 months. That was 4 months ago. Without the hourglass, I have 8 weeks left, maybe less. This is the only thing keeping me alive. Marcus stared at her. So you're killing dozens of men to save yourself? Wouldn't you? If you were dying, if you had a way to live, wouldn't you take it? Not like this. Then you're a fool. They stood in silence for a moment. Then Catherine's expression changed, softened. I'll make you a deal, Doctor. You're a surgeon. You understand medicine. You understand death. Join my crew. Help me find a cure for my consumption. If we can cure it, I won't need the hourglass anymore. I'll give it to you. You can destroy it. And if there's no cure, then at least you tried, and I'll pay you well. 500 pounds, gold, right now. Marcus thought about it. 500 pounds was a fortune, enough to pay off his debts, enough to start over, and if he joined the crew, he'd have access to the hourglass. He could destroy it when she wasn't looking. 1 month, Marcus said. I'll give you 1 month to find a cure. If I can't help you, I leave with the hourglass. Catherine smiled. Deal. She was lying. Marcus knew she was lying, but he needed time to figure out how to destroy the Hourglass without her stopping him. He joined the crew of the Black Widow the next day. Catherine gave him his own cabin, access to medical supplies, and freedom to examine her condition. The consumption was real. Her lungs were damaged. She coughed blood every morning. Without the Hourglass, she'd be dead in weeks. But every time she used the Hourglass, one of the crew aged. Marcus watched it happen multiple times. She'd turn it. The red sand would flow upward, and somewhere on the ship a man would suddenly look years older. The crew hated her, but they were too weak to fight, too old, too tired. Marcus studied the Hourglass secretly. He examined the glass, the metalwork, the strange red sand, and he found something. Carved into the base, in tiny Spanish letters, was a phrase, El precio es la sangre del usuario. The price is the user's blood. He didn't understand what it meant until he saw Catherine cut her finger one night. A drop of her blood fell on the Hourglass. The sand glowed brighter, flowed faster. The Hourglass was connected to her, fed by her blood. That's when Marcus realized the truth. The Hourglass wasn't saving Catherine. It was killing her. Every time she used it, it took a little bit of her life force along with someone else's time. The consumption wasn't a disease. It was the Hourglass slowly draining her. She was addicted to the thing that was killing her. Marcus confronted her in her cabin. You need to stop using it. The Hourglass is what's making you sick. You're wrong. The Hourglass is keeping me alive. Look at yourself, Catherine. Really look. You think you look younger, but you don't. You look hollow, empty, like there's nothing inside you anymore. She looked in the mirror. For the first time she really looked, and she saw it. The emptiness in her eyes, the unnatural glow of her skin. She didn't look alive. She looked preserved. What's happening to me? She whispered. The Hourglass takes time from others, but it takes something from you too. Your soul, your humanity. Eventually, there'll be nothing left. You'll just be a shell, alive but not living. Catherine sat down heavily. I don't want to die. Everyone dies, but dying as yourself is better than living as a monster. She looked at the Hourglass, the red sand flowing upward, always upward, never stopping. I can't stop. I'm too afraid. Then let me help you. Marcus reached for the Hourglass. Catherine didn't stop him. He picked it up. The whispers started immediately. Turn me, use me, take time, live forever. Marcus ignored the voices. He walked to the window, opened it, and before Catherine could change her mind, he threw the Hourglass into the ocean. It fell in slow motion, the black glass catching the moonlight. Then it hit the water and sank. Catherine screamed, ran to the window. No, no, what have you done? Saved you, Marcus said. The next morning, Catherine woke up coughing blood. Her consumption had returned full force. The Hourglass had been suppressing it, keeping her barely alive. Now there was nothing holding back the disease. Marcus stayed with her, treated her as best he could. But they both knew the truth. She had weeks left, maybe days. I'm sorry, she said one morning, for everything, for the men I hurt, for the time I stole. I know. Do you think they'll forgive me? Marcus looked at the crew, the men who had been aged decades and weeks. Some were recovering now that the Hourglass was gone. Their hair was still grey, but they looked more alive, more human. I don't know, Marcus said honestly, but you can ask them. Catherine called the crew together, apologized. Some men spat at her, others walked away, but a few nodded, accepted her apology. It wasn't forgiveness, but it was something. Catherine Vane died 3 weeks later. Marcus was with her at the end. Thank you, she whispered, for stopping me, for showing me I'd become a monster. You weren't a monster, you were just afraid. Same thing sometimes. She died at sunset. The crew buried her at sea. No ceremony, no words, just her body wrapped in canvas, sliding into the water. Marcus stayed with the Black Widow for another month, helped the aged crew members recover as much as possible. Then he left, returned to Nassau. went back to his small shack, but he never forgot the hourglass, never forgot the whispers, the temptation. 2 years later, a fisherman came to Marcus's shack. "Doctor, I found something strange in my nets. Thought you might want to see it." The fisherman pulled out a cloth bundle, unwrapped it. Inside was the hourglass, intact, undamaged, the red sand still flowing upward. Marcus felt cold. "Where did you catch this?" "Deep water, miles from shore. Been down there for years, probably, but the glass isn't even cracked." The hourglass couldn't be destroyed, not by water, maybe not by anything. Marcus took it from the fisherman, paid him £20 to forget he'd ever found it. Then Marcus did the only thing he could think of. He put the hourglass in an iron box, welded it shut, wrapped the box in chains, and hired a ship to take him to the deepest part of the Caribbean Sea. At midnight, miles from any land, Marcus dropped the box into the ocean, watched it sink into darkness. "Stay down there," he whispered. "Don't ever come back." But as the box disappeared into the depths, Marcus heard something, faint, distant, like an echo from underwater, the whispers. "We'll meet again. Time always finds a way. Time always comes back." Marcus returned to Nassau and never spoke of the hourglass again. He lived another 40 years, died peacefully in his sleep at age 67. But the hourglass is still down there in the deep, in the dark, waiting. The red sand still flowing upward, still hungry for time, still whispering to anyone who gets too close. Divers sometimes report finding strange objects in those waters. Black glass that glows faintly, red sand that moves on its own. But they never bring it up. Something tells them not to, some instinct, some warning. Because the hourglass isn't just an object. It's a curse, a temptation, a promise of immortality that costs everything. And somewhere in the Caribbean, in waters so deep no light reaches, the devil's hourglass waits. Waits for someone desperate enough, greedy enough, afraid enough of death to use it. Maybe it'll wait forever. Or maybe someday someone will find it again. We'll hear the whispers. We'll turn it just once, just to see what happens. Just to gain one more hour. Just to cheat death for a little while longer. And when they do, the red sand will flow upward. Someone nearby will age. And the cycle will begin again. Because time is the one thing humans can never have enough of, and the one thing that always runs out. The devil's hourglass knows this, feeds on this, exists because of this, and it's patient, so very patient, because, unlike humans, it has all the time in the world.